In this episode, yes, I do, inside or outside.
Hi there, bridal couples-to-be.
Welcome to How to Get Married in Holland.
The ultimate wedding podcast of and about the Netherlands.
We, wedding ceremony experts, aka celebrants Daphne and Jasperin, share all ins and outs of getting married in our flat and fabulous country.
Enjoy listening. Indeed, inside or outside, because once you have chosen your venue, there are different scenarios. For example, if you get married in a town hall, it's always inside. But if you're opted for your own venue, you get to choose. Do you want to get married inside or rather outside? Well, there are some pros and cons, aren't there, Jasperine?
There are pros and cons, that's true. The pros, of course, if you want to get married outside, you get the atmosphere, you get the great vibe, especially from May time to September when the weather in the Netherlands is nice. It's lovely to get to do your wedding outside. It's festive, it's sunny most of the times, and it gives a wonderful atmosphere. Of course, depending on the location, whether you want like a beach atmosphere or whether you want an intimate setting in a garden or an orchard. But of course, there are also drawbacks, and they mainly have to do with the weather, because after all,
be unpredictable in the Netherlands.
The Netherlands, yes, that's true. It can be hot, and then you have to make sure that you make some shade to avoid that your guests don't faint. We've had it. Well, you've had it, right?
Yeah,
But it was
I've had
so
it
hot.
once. Yeah, it was quite a scare. Yeah, someone fainted within the public of some of the family.
I think it's especially important when you have elderly people visiting.
Yeah,
You're assisting to the wedding.
yeah, because it doesn't only disrupts the ceremony, of course, but everyone is very concerned if they're all right, and everyone was a bit scared. So it really, puts a hold on that festive feeling. So, and you need to take care of your guests, I think.
Yes, and you don't want a scare. No. And then, of course, it's the Netherlands. So especially if you get married on the beach, it's windy.
Sandy.
Windy and sandy, yes. And that can be chilly as well then. Then you have to make sure that you have some blankets. But also, what happens when you get married on the beach, Daphne? Can you tell us a bit about your experiences?
Yeah, I live near the beach, so I perform a lot of ceremonies on the beach. And I once had a wedding when it looked beautiful. You know, the sun was setting and there was a beautiful orange feeling in the air. And the photographer was wildly crazy due to the beautiful golden hour light, it is called. And the setting was beautiful. White chairs, flowers everywhere, beautiful backdrop, beautiful couple. Well, everything you need for a wonderful wedding was there on the spot. And then the weather turned. Suddenly, the whole sky went black and blue, really. Yeah, and everyone was getting a bit restless on their chairs. So what's happening? What are we going to do? And it started with 1 drop and 2 drop. And you look upside, you think, well, maybe it will pass over, but it didn't. So everyone, at one point, I performed the official part of the wedding. We pulled it forward within the ceremony and said, okay, they're married now, and now run. And everyone ran inside. And then we did the rest of the storytelling part of the speech inside.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Of course, it wasn't like the couple had planned. We couldn't have foreseen this because it wasn't predicted, this kind of weather. But then again, it was such an experience, and everyone was laughing and, they were very flexible about it. So yeah, and they have a really strong story to share with their grandchildren later on, right?
In
So
hindsight, it's a great story.
yeah, in hindsight, indeed. Yeah.
What I find when you get married on the beach, especially on the beach, because it's a public area, and
Mm,
when the weather is sunny and the beach is full, you get people who don't have the feeling for privacy, and they come and stand just behind the couple, for example,
yeah.
staring at the ceremony.
And they have a different dress code,
Different dress code.
sometimes topless.
Right.
If you want that in your pictures, then go ahead. But yeah, it's something
Yeah.
to think about.
That's true. That's definitely something to take into account. Also, getting married outside in areas where you have water, whether it's the beach or a castle with a moat or an area where you have a pond with a fountain. You have to make sure that you look after your kids if they are
Yeah.
small kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you don't want any kids wandering around and you are
no,
wondering
yeah,
where they have gone
yeah,
and if they are safe. But you could solve that possible risk with, for example, by hiring a wedding nanny who can
yes,
take care of your
yeah,
of the little kids attending the
yeah,
wedding.
yeah.
Yeah,
So there are cons, but they can always be solved. You can be creative about that, and then you just get that wonderful outside summery feel wedding.
yeah,
But what about inside? Because inside is good. It's an excellent idea as well.
yeah. It is. Yeah. Well, there are also some pros and cons from for getting married inside. For example, if it's sunny outside, it can be quite hot inside.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I've seen a groom with a three-piece suit just sweating like a
yes,
madman. So
yes,
yeah, and sometimes you need to. Of course, many venues they have air conditioning, and you can regulate the temperature. But then again, some don't. So it's yeah,
The good thing about inside is, of course, you can always have your ceremony outside. It's a relatively stable area. You know that the setting that you have is going to be just like that. You're not going to have anyone, staring at your venue like you would have, for example, on the beach or any other outside location. So that is it's very easy to organize because you
yeah.
always know it's going to work.
Yeah, the
The
surroundings are stable.
yeah,
You have everything under control.
yeah.
You can check, of course, the ceremony room beforehand and see if there are some things you need to solve. Like if there isn't any airco, maybe you can bring some mobile devices in there. Um, but you also need to take into consideration what kind of pictures would you like.
Yes, light is very important.
Yeah, because it can be challenging for a
Yeah,
photographer, for example,
yeah.
if there is a backlight from a big window. Yeah,
It's not always possible to make the setting that you want, the
no,
setup that you want with the
no,
chairs. So sometimes you just have to have the couple in front of a window and then they have that light coming from the back. And the photographer just has to deal with that. And if you go outside, then you, of course, don't have the boundaries of the wall of the room that you're in when you choose for a wedding inside.
no. But you can discuss it with your photographer because he or she can
Yes.
use a flashlight, for example, or
Yeah.
bring extra lights with him or her. But then again, you also have the limitations of the space itself
Yeah.
because if you want, for example, a very special setup with your chairs, like a circle or
Yeah. Sometimes
yeah,
difficult in a square room or
yeah,
in a rectangular room.
yeah. And some rooms inside are very small and have a long depth in meters. So when you have a lot of guests, sometimes the people are really in the back of the room. They can't see you very well. So that could be also be a limitation of the space inside.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah,
Also, the easier thing to arrange inside is as well the sound. That is
yes, it
something
is.
That most locations have like a professional sound system, and it's integrated. And that's also one thing that I forgot to mention when you get married outside, that you always have to make sure that your sound, the sound for the ceremonial speaker is sorted out professionally.
Yeah. And hopefully, if you have some live music, you
Yep.
can ask the musicians
Yep.
or the DJ or the singer if the ceremony speaker or the celebrant or the officiant can use the mic,
Yeah.
so everyone can hear us quite well.
Mm.
You do have more options than inside, and you don't have any insects inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
I once had
especially in August.
Yeah, I had a bride who was, really afraid, panic mode, when there was an insect swarming around her head. And indeed, like in an orchard or on the beach, there could be some insects, but that can also be solved with some repellents, for example.
Yes. So for every drawback, there's a solution. We can think of a solution, right?
Yeah, we have the experience. We've seen it all.
So if you were to organize your own perfect day, what would you opt for? Inside or outside?
Well, I got married inside, but it was on the attic of a historic building, and it was quite hot.
There you go.
So now I think I would get married outside.
Okay.
But I've also experienced a beautiful solution, and that's a combination of getting married inside. Then you have the ceremony within that romantic bubble, especially if you have quite a stunning venue. And then when I ask every guest, family and friends to rise, and I present the newlyweds, then you had that vibe of release and festive emotions, and then you can get outside for your toast.
Yes.
I think that's beautiful too.
I think that's the nicest thing would be for me as well, to have part inside, have definitely the toast outside, and then when you move towards the evening, when maybe temperature is going to be an issue again, you could have dinner inside if you like, or in a marquee, which is it's outside but then covered, and there you can control the temperature as well. Yeah. So make a combination. I think that's an excellent idea. You get the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah. And many wedding venues, they have plenty of possibilities, whether you go for plan A or plan B or a combination. Yeah.
Plan A, plan B, combine it all.
Or both.
You have a wonderful wedding.
Yes.
I think that's
Talk
it.
soon.
Talk soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to How to Get Married in Holland.
We look forward to share more about organizing your wedding day in the Netherlands in the next episode.
Hit the subscribe button so you won't miss anything.
Any questions in the meantime?
Please ask wedding celebrants Daphne or Jasperin. You can find us, plus the show notes, on Instagram.
And if you love this podcast, please leave a review.
It gives us a higher ranking, so more fun international couples with Dutch wedding plans will be able to find us.
Until next time.